Hello friends, I am back with a lecture on ethnography. Some PhD students from social sciences have requested me to say something on ethnography, and I have made some slides to organize the lecture better. Uh, I and now I wish to share my slides without any introductory note. Uh, Friends, this is the title slide, and uh, this says the lecture is on ethnography, meaning and types. First, you would like to know what ethnography is. So let me tell you that social scientists follow two methodologies, quantitative and qualitative. Quantitative, in which we deal with numbers, and qualitative, in which we deal with words. Now, ethnography is part of qualitative methodology. It's, it's a study of narratives. And narratives are nothing but statements, words, stories told to you as a researcher by uh, the people, by the respondents, by the subjects or participants you meet in the field. The word consists of two terms, ethnos plus graphic, which means to describe a nation, a community, or a homogeneous group of people, which means community. Now, ethnography began as a travel log. This is the history of ethnography by outsiders. The examples are, in our case, I mean, in case of India, uh, some important travelogues are produced by Megasthenes, Indica. This was in the Mauryan period. Then Faxia, a record of Buddhist kingdoms, Gupta period, the golden age of India with all-round developments. Zhuangzhang did Tang records on the western regions, Harshvardhan region. Al-Baruni, Kitabul Hind. Uh, uh, I think you may have heard about this famous book, Kitabul Hind. This is a book written in 11th century by a great Persian scholar by visiting and traveling in India. Uh, those who are interested in Indian civilization in 11th century may find this book quite interesting. Then Ibn Battuta, this is Rihla, um, a study of Delhi Sultanate, Abdul Razzaq, account of Vijayanagara, and Francis Vernier, Travels in the Mughal Empire. This book is devoted to Mughal period. That means the researcher selects a time period, selects a community or a nation or uh, groups of people, uh, goes goes to that place, travels widely, meet all kinds of people, observes architectures, arts, irrigation, defense, everything, and writes a report on that. So conventionally, ethnography involves observing people in a natural environment. You have to go there. Researcher has to go there to meet people and talk to them so as to gain a trustworthy understanding. I will again emphasize that qualitative study is about understanding of something. It is not explanation of something. The word explanation is used more in quantitative methodology. We use the term uh, causal explanation, while in qualitative methodology, we use the term understanding. We want to understand. What we want to understand is people's behavior, values, and beliefs. The most known proponents of ethnography are Franz Boas, who lived between 1858 and 1942. He is called the founder of American anthropology. What he did by doing ethnographic work, he attacked the unilinear concept of evolution of all societies from a pre-developed stage to a developed or industrially complex or more complex, uh, super complex stage. Uh, Actually, at that time, the thinking was that certain countries of the world, Northwest Europe and United States, were developed countries, and they have followed a certain path of development. Countries which are less developed or are in a developing stage will also follow the same path of development. This is called linear theory of development. Now, he rejected this unilinear theory of evolution, and he suggested that the the term development has to be defined in the context of a particular community or society or nation. All the nations would not follow the same path of development as uh, as traveled by Northwest European countries or America. And so he added the concept of cultural relativism. That concept of development, concept of culture, concept of modernization, they are all to be defined in the relative context of a specific culture. What is development for you may not be development for my nation, like that. Uh, After that, the second most famous proponent of ethnography was Bronislaw Malinowski, and it's very common. All sociology, anthropology books start with the mention of Malinowski, who suggested that the research method uh, consists of immersing in the field work. He himself uh, did immersive field work among the Trobriand Islanders, and he established participant observation as the methodological tool. That if you want to understand a community, a nation, a group of people, you have to go there, live with them, participate in their activities uh, for preferably for an year or so, and then write about them. Try to write about them from their perspective. This is participant observation. And he wrote a book, Argonauts of the Western Pacific. This was in 1922. Uh, Bronislaw Malinowski influenced the early works in anthropology and sociology also in India. The British administrators and Christian missionaries wrote about Indian communities, specific issues like education, linguistics, social relations, and religion. They are all ethnographic records of great value. I'm not saying that uh, what they said is all true. I'm not taking that objectivistic uh, uh, or value neutral position. Their writings are certainly influenced by their own interests, the interests of British administrators and Christian missionaries who are interested in spreading Christianity in India. So, but these are important records. Uh, Let me also tell you that today, all the ethnographers do not go to the field or stay in the field for a long time. They make shorter visits or simply do the desk work, and they do the studies of records available from the past and summarize them in their own manner. A very good example of that is the book, The Beautiful Tree, which was written by Dharampal, a Gandhian scholar, in 1995. It was also a kind of ethnography because it talked about what kind of system of education prevailed in India. He made a claim that a school was associated with mosques, temples, and churches. And he also showed that, contrary to contemporary beliefs, children from all the castes and communities went to these schools, even to those schools which were connected with temples. So this is another form of ethnography. All ethnographers today do not go to field. They study ethnographic works, travelogues, uh, written by others and uh, study them again and again and develop a new perspective on the people and the times that they are studying. Gradually, ethnography, however, developed into participant observation method. It may be very long stay participation, or it may be short participation. There is a word related to ethnography, that is ethnology. And ethnology provides a comparative perspective. If you are studying two communities or two nations simultaneously, or two islands, then you are doing ethnology. You can compare between communities, their behavior, religion, rituals, irrigation, agriculture, uh, and whatever you like. Then another variety of ethnography is extended ethnography, which is done by uh, Michael Buraboy. Uh, and this is a kind of ethnography in which we pick up a community and study what kind of changes are taking place over time. Uh, uh, so it leads to studying panel or change in the larger context. Means suppose you want to study what is happening in a typical village of Uttar Pradesh today, you would like to relate. First, you will make a study of change in a specific community, and then you will relate that change to government policies, processes or forces of globalization, uh, and globalization, how how are products of globalization, mental and material, um, uh, are getting assimilated in the local culture, etc., etc. So, and there is another term very popular these days in digital social sciences, that is called digital ethnography or netnography, by immersing the digital world of various platforms, diaries, videos, and mobile apps. Why did the early ethnographers do? What did the early ethnographers do in India? You would like to know. A study of rural and tribal communities, because tribal communities were considered to be homogeneous communities, which is not true. Uh, there are very significant differences in all aspects of social structure, language, everything between different scheduled tribes of India. But so they chose a one particular community and studied it. Then study of beliefs, religious festivals, ceremonies, rituals, value systems, and behavior. Now, this they did. They studied community from amic. There are two perspectives, amic and etic. Etic means scientific, outsider, value neutral, dispassionate, scientific, while amic means studying people in their context and from their perspective. That is the purpose of living with people for a long time, participant observation, rather than etic or outsider's perspective. Uh, Often cited, Glyphor's uh, Geats stress understanding people's behavior from their own or cultural angle, and this is called rich data. Uh, thin data, thick data. Thin means observing behavior. Thick means uh, uh, understanding meaning behind that behavior from people's perspective. Geer's essay, Deep Play, Notes on Balinese Cockfight, is a classic example of thick description, a concept adopted from the British philosopher Gilbert, coming from ordinary language philosophy, what led up to it, and how they felt. So, cockfight is not simply a play. For Geertz, behind cockfight, there are deep cultural, social meanings uh, and experiences which need to be explored when an anthropologist goes to field. For many people, ethnography now includes shorter duration visits also, spending not 1 year or 10 years in the field or other nations, but shorter visits means you can go to a village, stay there for 15 days or 1 month, and uh, get absorbed into the village activities and write about the village. Different aspects. Different aspects. The degrees of freedom in ethnography is great. You can study everything. So number of variables are not restricted as in quantitative methodology. Today, the growth of technology and increasing smartphone adoption uh, uh, presents an opportunity to conduct ethnography through a mobile device also. You must have heard that nowadays many surveys and now 2027 census will be conducted through mobile phones. These mobile phones are connected to some central office as of Registrar General or IIPS. NFHS is connected to IIPS. Census is connected to Registrar General India. Uh, and you can also participate in the community by using mobile phone, by uh, using videos, WhatsApp, etc., etc. And that is also part of digital ethnography. So some of you who do not have resources or inclination to go to the field and stay there for sufficiently long period of time uh, can use mobile phones to study uh, the field. The core methods of ethnography are participant observations, as I said. Malnowski made it more popular. Taking field notes, interviews. Interviews means qualitative, open-ended interviews, unstructured interviews, or interviews with guidelines uh, and thick description. Depth over speed. I said it makes inclusion of large number of variables possible or degrees of freedom is high, which means you can cover lot more things than a quantitative survey. You can use a multi-method approach and panel design as in extended ethnography and waves of data collection, multiple revisits. One can make multiple revisits, study the field today, then revisit it after 3 months, then again after 3 months, then again after 3 months. Like this, you can have a study for 1 year or 2 years, study the changes comprehensively and relate those changes to what kind of changes are taking place in the state, in the nation, and in the world. Uh, Ethnography is of great use to you if you are a sociologist, an anthropologist. Uh, Certainly, this is a toolkit uh, of anthropologists, but sociologists also use anthropological method. All early sociologists use anthropological method to study tribes, communities, and societies, especially village society. Or if you are a student of health, education, market research, organizational culture, consultant providing monitoring and evaluation services, examining your issues from a multidisciplinary perspective. Now, I will show a few slides on market research, how ethnography can be useful to market research. What is market research? If you are a student of market research, you already know that this is the process of determining the viability of a new service or product directly through research conducted directly with potential customers. Let me read it again. The process of determining the viability of a new service or product through research conducted directly with potential customers. Ethnography in market research uh, focuses on product development, customer experience, brand strategy. You are all familiar. If you are a student of market research, you are familiar with all these terms. Service design, retail research, helping business to make informed decisions, consumer behavior, market trends, and industry dynamics. Basically, it means innovation. Are you interested in any of the following things? If yes, you need market research ethnography. What are these things? Consumer journeys from initial purchase to post-purchase engagements, brand relationships, emotional long-term interaction with a brand, shopping behavior, cognitive, shopping behavior has several dimensions, cognitive, emotional, and motivational factors. Household consumption, goods and services used. Household consumption survey are also made by National Sample Survey Organization. But these surveys depend on quantitative methodology and pick up a certain number of variables, measure them through scientifically designed measures, use a scientific sampling method at the national level, usually multi multi-stage sampling method, and study them. But here you study the people directly, households directly, and digital interactions between people or between people and a platform, product experiences, search, use, expectations, and needs. What are people searching for what purpose are they using a different project, uh, uh, expectation, what are people's expectations from a product, and what are their needs, and lifestyle changes, for example, in nutrition or physical activity. So it gives you three things. What does ethnography give you? It gives you three things. Uh, First, it gives you raw data, obviously, raw data. You have a record of the whole community and a number of cases. You, you have narratives, so many narratives, maybe in a village, 100 narratives or more or less. Then you have patterns in the data. Ethnography gives you patterns in the data and insights. In, uh, Insights into people's expectations, needs, what kind of product they are expecting from you, design, cost, or what things are important to your research, to your field. First of all, you need to know what aspects of buying are important to them. What are their expectations from buying? And then uh, on all these things, you can go deeper into cost aspect, color aspect, design aspect, functions aspect, and their basic needs, status needs, and all other things. Uh, for coding of these data, you can use grounded theory approach or Julia methodology. You can see my video on YouTube. You can note down this video address and see it there. And in sum, I do not want to make the presentation long, so I thought this time I will have only a few slides and just uh, define the concept of ethnography and show what are its applications. So in sum, ethnography will stay as long as researchers wish to privilege human meanings over abstraction. This, in nutshell, is the purpose of ethnography. Uh, Ethnography uh, focuses on human meanings uh, rather than developing theories or abstraction. People's meaning. Of course, you can later on develop theories of people's meanings also, like in grounded theory approach or in Julia methodology, you can develop first order, second order, higher order concepts and combine them, build a theory, uh, or open axial and through selective coding, all that you can do. But the main aim is to understand people's meanings, human meanings. Uh, Thank you. I'm again giving you my email address. If you like this lecture, or if you want to communicate with me, you can use my email address. This is IIT Kanpur address. Now I'm retired as a senior professor from IIT Kanpur. Uh, I taught there in sociology, I taught there in statistics, I taught there in management. Actually, when MBA program was developed, I was one of the founders of MBA program there and developed a course for MBA students from social perspective. I thought that this lecture on ethnography tells you what ethnography is. For details, you can read more. Watch my video, you will get some references, and then you can go yourself in depth. But ethnography means a qualitative methodology, interacting with people. You can interact directly, stay with them. Like you can go to a village and uh, uh, pretend to be a school teacher. So, with the permission of basic education officer, you can live there as a primary school teacher, or you can open a shop, a grocery shop or something, and live with people, interact with them, uh, morning, evening, uh, formally, informally, and take notes, do your field work, make diaries, observe, both observations and talking and interviews. You can also conduct a few focus group discussions and summarize all of them ultimately to arrive people's meaning, subjective meaning. So anybody who is interested in subjective meaning, meanings that people in a given culture attach to something. It may be something of society, it may be something of culture, it may be something of market. Uh, uh, then you need ethnography. Thank you very much.